Audiobook Academy. Book Summary. The Little Mermaid. By Hans Christian Andersen. The water was gorgeous, clean, and blue, but quite deep, in a distant part of the ocean. No matter how deep or far down the surface appears to be, it does not imply that all that lies beneath is sand. In the depths of the ocean, mystical trees, herbs, and fish of various sizes can be found. The ruler of the underwater world dwells in a majestic castle located in the deepest part of the sea. Corals cover the walls, and the roof is formed of seashells that open and close according to the direction of the tide. His mother assisted the king in running the castle when the latter was a long-time widower. Inheritance was something she was quite proud of, and she was very intelligent. She cherished her 6 granddaughters more than anything in the world. The most attractive one was the tiniest of the bunch. Her skin was flawless and her blue eyes were stunning. Gardening was their favorite pastime. The youngest child swung her arms around her to remind her of the sun. Unlike her sisters, the Little Mermaid was a quiet child who cherished a marble statue of a guy who had perished in a shipwreck. With this in mind, the princess grew a flowering plant beside her favorite statue and it worked flawlessly. There were few things that brought her more joy than hearing about people's lives in the news. Her grandmother's stories about people, ships, and towns were always fascinating to her. The young mermaid was most interested in the smelly flowers, the green trees, and the birds. To keep her promise to the grandchildren, their grandmother guaranteed that they may watch the ships pass by while standing on a nearby ledge. They were frequently reminiscing about the things they had seen together. The youngest wanted to know more about the outside world than everyone else. In the first, she described lying on the sand, while in the second, she described watching the sunset. The bravest of the 3 sisters, the third plunged into the river and emerged with stunning views of nearby castles and hills. The 5th one wandered out in the winter and saw the world from an iceberg because the 4th one wasn't very daring. Upon her 15th birthday, the Little Mermaid was able to breathe in the fresh air and she saw a ship hosting a party. She noticed a young man with large, black eyes staring back at her. For his birthday, we threw a party. The Little Mermaid observed the festivities for some time, until a storm arrived and she had to abandon the party. People were in a panic as the waves grew larger and larger. To save him from drowning, the Little Mermaid swam to his aid after he had fallen into the water. She brought him ashore, kissed him, and dashed back to the sea because someone was approaching. The Little Mermaid was saddened by his smiles as he became engulfed in a sea of lovely women and had no idea who had saved him. As the days passed, her sadness deepened, and she eventually confided in her sisters about what had happened. After they assisted her in locating the prince, she was able to monitor him daily. Even though her granny tried to persuade her that her underwater existence was wonderful, she longed the land. A snake-infested ancient witch's abode piqued her interest as a possible place to seek assistance. In spite of the fact that it was a big risk, she pushed ahead with her plan. The mermaid was assured by the witch that she had come to the right place at the right time, as she had the potion in her possession. Unfortunately, the witch's services were not free of charge. Even though the mermaid will be able to walk on her own 2 feet, she will be in excruciating pain, and she must persuade the prince that she is the one for him or she would dissolve into foam. She also desired a voice that was the most beautiful in the underwater world. That's what the mermaid agreed to. Upon her arrival on land, she drank the potion and suffered a great deal of pain before passing out and waking up close to the prince. She had a problem introducing herself to him because she couldn't. Having assisted her in getting to her feet, he then escorted her to the castle, where she was pampered with the most exquisite attire. They were entertained on a daily basis by 2 young ladies, neither of whom had the same entrancing vocal range as Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Her sisters were out and about when she saw them, so she struck up a conversation with them. When she left them, they were heartbroken to see her grandparents and father in the distance. The prince became fonder of her with each passing day, but not as a wife-to-be but as a little brother or sister. He told her he liked her because she reminded him of a girl who saved his life. She and the prince took a trip to another castle one day. It didn't matter how long he talked to her, he informed the princess he couldn't marry anyone else and needed the girl who saved him. When a new princess was born, everything was altered. He decided to marry her since she reminded him so much of the girl who saved his life. She knew she was going to die the next day, so she spent her final night on the boat dancing. She noticed that her sisters had shaved off their hairs. That night, in order to save her from dying tomorrow, they had given the witch their hair. As soon as the prince's blood fell down her feet, she was meant to transform into a mermaid and live for 300 years. She had been ordered to get a knife. The princess realized she lacked the strength to kill the prince as she neared, so she put away her knife and dove into the ocean. She was dreading the day she would die. After speaking with the fairies, she learned that the only way a mermaid may attain immortality is by finding her true love. Having made it to the domain of the air ghosts, the little mermaid said her final goodbyes to the prince before ascending into the clouds. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button for more content like this. See you in next video.